Merry Christmas Eve. This is Guided by Faith. I'm your host, Jay Holland, and I'm so encouraged that even on Christmas Eve, you are staying steady on your routines, you're spending time with the Lord, and I hope this little devotion is something that helps you with that. I've been walking through my renewed gratitude journal for the last several days. Not going to do that today. There's a couple scripture passages I want to cover in the next couple days. Let's jump right into it. I want to read to you a section from one of the two Christmas stories. This is Matthew chapter 2. And it's going to be very familiar to you if you are, part of a church, part of a Christian faith, have grown up in church. But I want to point out something that's always just really baffled me and bugged me. So Matthew chapter 2, starting in verse 1. Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose, and we have come to worship him." Now when Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And he assembled all the chief priests and the scribes and the people, and he inquired to them where the Christ was to be born. And they told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it is written by the prophet, and you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." And so then Herod, the story goes on, Herod summoned the wise men. He tried to get them to report back to him because ultimately he wanted to kill them. Now, I think about this passage quite a bit. Every time that we read the Christmas story, the wise men are remarkable. These are like Persian scholars, probably people influenced by Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and the Jewish people who were in the diaspora, who were dispersed when they were in captivity. So these are probably astrologers, magi, ancient scholars who had the books of the Old Testament, who read them, who were deeply influenced by the testimony of Daniel and those people. And they noticed something in there and came to find this Messiah that the star was showing. So that's awesome, and that we focus on that a lot, and we should. Then you have King Herod, who hears about it. He's the local king in Jerusalem, and he wants to murder Jesus. And while that's horrible, to me it's understandable. He's a king. He thinks he's the king of the Jews, and somebody's coming along saying, "Where's the king of the Jews?" So Herod, while an absolute lost pagan, his actions to me are understandable. The ones that are so baffling to me are the ones that we just blip over real quick. Herod inquired of the chief priests and the scribes. Now, the chief priest would be the highest priest in all of the Jewish religion for the time. They're from the tribe of Levi. They handle the temple duties. They're the ones that are leading the nation. And then the scribes are the people who literally their job was to take one of the Old Testament scrolls and copy it letter for letter, word for word, because they didn't have a printing press. So they would be copying the Bible. These people knew the Old Testament. They knew the prophecy. So when Herod asked them, "Where's this one born king of the Jews supposed to come from?" I don't think they had to go research it. I think they knew immediately. They said, "Bethlehem of Judea, for it's written by the prophet, out of you, Bethlehem, will come one who will shepherd his people, a ruler who will shepherd his people." So they knew this stuff right away. And you have these wise men who were coming from maybe 1,000 miles away, 700 to 1,000 miles away. They make it to Jerusalem. They find out it's in Bethlehem. The wise men go to worship. Herod sends soldiers to kill Jesus, and the scribes and the chief priests do nothing. And to me, that is so baffling. They have been waiting for the Messiah their entire lifetime, their kids, their parents' lifetime, their grandparents' lifetime, and on for generations. And now somebody's coming saying, "We think the Messiah is here," and they don't even go find out. And what's even more striking to me is that Bethlehem is only about 6 miles from Jerusalem. So they wouldn't even go 6 miles. I live in Stuart, Florida. Like 6 miles is like Stuart to Hope Sound. I don't know where you live. Pick 6 miles. And if you thought that something that was supposed to fulfill the deepest longing of your heart was just 6 miles away, wouldn't you go check it out? I know that they don't have a car. They had a donkey. They could have ridden their donkey. You can walk 6 miles if you think the king of the world is showing up. And they didn't do it. And then these men lived their lives. Most of them probably passed away before Jesus died on the cross. And at some point, I wonder, did they stand before God and say, oh, God, we were waiting for your Messiah to come, and we were faithfully waiting. And I wonder, did God say, what are you talking about? He was 6 miles down the road, and you never even went to find out. And this is always so baffling to me. But I think about how steeped sometimes we get in the traditions and rituals of our Christian faith, and how it could be very easy for us to know the Bible verses, to be attending the services, to be attending Christmas Eve service tonight, and to miss God in the process. And so as you are celebrating tonight and tomorrow, and there's going to be probably all kinds of family stuff, hopefully great family stuff, but I know a lot of times dysfunctional family drama, your weirdest people show up in town and have to spend time together. As you open presents and get things you want, probably get things you don't want, and then don't get things that you want, as you're required to go to family functions, all of that, I just really pray you don't miss God in the midst of Christmas. What are you going to do today to focus your heart and mind on the fact that Christmas, Christ Mass, the celebration of Christ, of Jesus, how are you going to celebrate? Please don't miss God this Christmas. Christmas is about God loving you, humbling himself, coming and being born, raising, and then dying and rising again for you and for me. And I just don't want you to miss that. Don't be like these scribes and religious scholars and you know all this stuff and you know all the trivia. In the process, you miss God. So spend time today thanking Jesus for the gift of his life for you, so that you might have life too. And so I hope you're encouraged by that. I hope you look at this passage a little bit different, and maybe one day, maybe some of those wise men or maybe some of those scholars got saved at some point, and we'll get to find out in heaven what were they thinking. But don't be like them. Don't miss God in the midst of Christmas. That's it. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas Eve. I'll see you again on Christmas Day.